Sometimes animals really need our help, like these puppies, for example, or this baby elephant, and so many more. Today, we will show you the most incredible cases when animals entrusted themselves to people when they were in need. This man is rescuing his dog left on a sailboat during Hurricane Ian, reaching 40 miles per hour. Tourists noticed a dolphin stuck in shallow water, so they released it back to the open sea. This guy is risking his life to help a dog that fell out of a window and was basically trapped on an AC unit. Take a look. The dog clearly understands what to do. Thankfully, this story had a happy ending. This blind camel was wandering through the desert in search of water for a long time. And this man came up with a way to give it water by luring the animal near a large bowl using sounds of water. This Ukrainian soldier risked his life to evacuate a hamster left in a village that was hit with missiles. This is why we need traffic police. This man freed an owl tangled up in a net. The bird's expression really conveys how happy it is. These people in Iceland rescued young puffins that came down from the mountains in search of food and couldn't fly back. The locals managed to capture them, take them to the mountains, and release them. A cat got stuck in a small crack between two walls and was begging for help. They had to break down one of the walls to get the poor animal out.
So happy.
The firefighters pulled 5 puppies out of a burning factory, but the animals were unconscious. They needed a heart massage and some cold water to come back to life, and their mother was able to see her babies safe and sound. This duck ended up under the ice, but thankfully a person came to its rescue right in time. It took the entire village to pull an elephant calf out of a well. They even got an excavator. People decided to dig a tunnel so that the animal could climb out of its trap, and they even treated the elephant's wound. And finally, compassionate people called police to save a dog that was left in a locked car in a 90-degree heat. The animal spent several hours in the car and was close to death, but the police came right in time, giving the dog first aid and then taking it to a clinic. People heard a small blinded kitten crying and decided to help. They cleaned its eyes, gave it medicine, fed the poor animal, and made sure it was warm. Now look at it a few days later. Proper care makes a huge difference. This sugar glider got stuck on the barbed wire. Even though the little guy was fighting and biting, this person was able to help the animal and even treat its wounds.
Go, mate. Go.
And here boys are rescuing a dog from a huge snake, risking their own life in the process. Just imagine the force with which the snake squeezes its prey. Frankly, I am amazed how calm the dog was. Clearly, it trusted its saviors, and that trust pays off. Look at the state these 5 donkeys were in due to being exposed to the elements. Fortunately, people quickly saw them and came to their aid. Thanks to them, the animals are safe. These firefighters saved 150 piglets from a burning farm. Just look at this insane height. But that won't stop this guy from moving the bird's nest to a safe space. A duck nearly fell prey to a python. But as luck would have it, people came to the bird's aid and left the python without dinner. This armadillo must have been very thirsty. This is its second bottle of water. A foal was in trouble when it got stuck in a tree. It's a good thing that people found it and set it free. This puppy was found in a landfill, inside a tied plastic bag, and it was in very bad shape, literally on the brink of death. But in just a week, it transformed to this, all thanks to a person's kindness.
Oh, sweetie.
This dog came to people with a snake wrapped around its snout, and the man put himself at risk to help the poor animal. But thankfully, this ended well for everyone.
Thank you so
I'm just
much.
glad it wasn't a rattlesnake.
Oh my god.
Oh Gott, wie schlimm siehst du denn aus?
When a girl noticed this cat in the forest, it was frightened and looked really rough. Nonetheless, the cat let her move it from its hiding place. It took over 2 months to bring the animal back to life, but this is what it looks like now. This bear cub had a paw stuck in a tree, and its sibling stayed right there, even trying to chew through the branch. Thankfully, a rescue team came right in time. Two young elephants got really stuck in a drying reservoir after coming there to drink some water. Just look how much effort it took to get the animals out. And finally, this newborn zebra already got into trouble. It got into the water and started to drown. Thankfully, it happened when there were people close by, so they managed to pull it out of the water almost straight away.
Bravo, bravo.
And this guinea pig was rescued from a demolished building by a Ukrainian rescue squad after missile attacks. This parrot was born with a defect affecting its legs and feet. It couldn't walk or stand, but thanks to this guy's support and regular training sessions he developed specifically for his bird, their team found success. This coyote fell into the water and was begging for help with its eyes. People wrapped a rope around it, brought it aboard, delivered it to dry land, and had to struggle through untying the rope before the animal could be set free.
There you go.
Так, ну що, давай його несемо на...
Tourists spotted the small dolphin stranded in an estuary and released it back into the sea. And this is a rescue mission, removing a lizard from set concrete. It's a painstaking job, but at least the animal was all right in the end.
No seas mamón, agarra bien.
This is a grey kangaroo.
This baby kangaroo got caught in a fence and people helped the animal free its foot. And this is how it thanked them.
Off he goes. Hey, mate, hey, hey.
Allah Jazallah khair.
This pigeon nearly drowned during a flood and risked approaching a human to save itself from water.
Ya Allah.
When you've lost all hope and accepted your fate, but then someone comes to your aid. This puppy lost consciousness during a fire, and this firefighter brought it back to life with CPR. During a wedding, one of the guests saw that a dog needed help, so he came to the animal's aid. Later, he was joined by another person, and finally, the dog was saved. Looks like this wedding had an extra +1 added to the guest list. And this girl sacrificed a pipe to free a bird.
Oh my God!
And here's another example of an animal trusting a human when it needs help. Isn't it adorable? These people untangled the turtle from the fishing line and released it back into the water. If only it could talk, it would definitely say thank you. This man noticed a drowning baby fox and immediately jumped into the water without even taking his clothes off. And sometimes even the tiniest creatures need help.
Ready to get him on the boat?
These guys caught a huge turtle that was tangled in netting with sharp branches. They freed the animal and released it back into the water.
Oh yeah, look at him go.
A raccoon had its head firmly stuck under the dumpster, and it took a lot of time and effort to get it out of there.
Bloop! You're like, why didn't you burrito her with a towel?
Thank you for showing me.
The goat mom beckoned a person to come in order to rescue her kids from a hole.
Come here, baby. Oh my God. Come here, baby. Come here, baby.
Okay, it's a beautiful crab, but look at this barnacle right here.
These fishermen found a crab with a barnacle attached to its mouth and helped the animal get rid of the uninvited guest. They even gave the crab some fish.
You know we roll.
This guy noticed a strange bag in the river. When he opened it up, he learned that this was a result of someone being extremely cruel. The puppy was barely breathing, but thankfully they managed to bring the poor animal back to life, and now it's safe and sound. This guy is helping a snake that tried to climb through a hole that turned out to be too small for it. These firefighters pulled a cat out of a burning house, and now the rescue team is trying to bring it back to life using an oxygen mask. This man decided to free the wolf even though the animal tried to bite him several times. But at least it looks like the wolf felt bad once it was rescued. A young elephant fell into a drain, and people couldn't figure out how they could help. Even an excavator couldn't manage it. Then they decided to break the concrete around the drain using hammers and chisels, and they finally succeeded. Turns out the baby elephant broke its leg, so it was taken to a rehabilitation center to heal and be released later. This baby monkey was crying for help when it got tangled in a net. It took a long time and effort to untangle the animal without injuring it, while the baby's mother waited nearby. And now they can finally be reunited. A pregnant goat got stuck in the middle of a cliff, and the rescue squad is trying to catch it with a net, when suddenly… Thankfully, people were ready for such a situation. The goat landed into the net, and both she and her baby were saved. A man noticed a small goldfinch in the street. The bird couldn't move because its feathers were covered in ice. The man brought the goldfinch home, where he warmed the bird back up and released it. This orangutan fell into a moat when it was trying to reach the food thrown by the zoo visitors. A zookeeper heroically dove after the animal and was eventually able to get the orangutan to dry land and give it first aid. A black mamba slithered under the hood of the car when it was trying to escape people throwing rocks at it. But this fearless guy got the snake out and released it back to freedom the very next day. And this person barely managed to pull the sheep out. And then, thank you to this kind man who gave water to a hedgehog dying from thirst. This bear's head got stuck in a fuel can, and it took 10 pairs of hands to take it off. Now, the most important part is to quickly run away. This tiny dog was following people and begging for help. Its back legs weren't moving, most likely due to being hit by a car. After an examination, it was clear the dog will never walk properly again. But people still kept the puppy, caring for it and letting it heal. And this is what it looks like now. This person helped a bird get its beak out of a tree, and it looks like the bird is very surprised by the way it's looking around. And here is a rescue of a manatee cub that couldn't properly breathe underwater. Now it lives in a rehabilitation center where it's being observed by specialists.
I saw a distressed plover hanging around a drain.
A grown plover bird was loudly asking for help because one of its babies fell into the drain. This girl pulled it out, dried it in her car, and returned it to its mother safe and sound.
Starting to look a little bit more lively now.
Come over to your baby.
Reunited at last.
Watch me rescue a horseshoe crab.
I wonder if this clam realized the kind of trouble it was in. Nonetheless, thanks to a human, it was saved. Due to a drop in water level, this frozen lake turned into an ice trap for turtles. After a few hours of work with a chainsaw, the rescuers managed to free 40 turtles, which were subsequently taken to a vet clinic and administered first aid. These people sacrificed their tiles to rescue their cat after it accidentally climbed into the pipe vents behind the wall and got stuck.
Not real sure what Buddy has stuck in his beak.
This man was on a fishing trip with his kids when he noticed the bird that had something stuck in its beak. Interestingly, the bird did not fight back at all.
I'm sure he'll be thankful to have that off. I'm sure it is.
Ow! Well, almost.
Got you good, didn't he?
Yeah, he definitely got me. He's definitely feeling a lot better.
And this iguana got caught in a wire fence, which left it hanging upside down. First, it had to be removed from the fence, and then the remaining wire that wrapped around the animal's body, neck, and feet had to be cut off. A 2-year-old foal named Xena was in a terrible state when she was found, completely exhausted to the point it could not stand up. This gave her a second chance. And this guy saved a hawk from drowning. In exchange, the bird was happy to pose for a photo with him. This bull fell into a water tank, and the rescue required heavy machinery. In Turkey, a cat voluntarily came to a hospital to get help for its broken leg. It remained remarkably calm during x-rays and a cast application. Funnily enough, when it got better, It stayed nearby. And this person rescued a tortoise from an army of leeches using lime juice. It doesn't harm the tortoise, but it's great for repelling leeches. And here, a Ukrainian soldier is pulling a puppy from a hole it fell into. Now that's what I call teamwork. And this fearless man risked his life to save a cobra that climbed into a motorcycle engine. Insects also approach people for help. Look at this praying mantis. It's not even scared.
Here you go. Here you go. Just run that way. This way.
This guy tried to explain to a deer how to get off the highway. And he succeeded.
Atta boy. Jump over.
Well, almost. Now he did.
Yes! Oh, live on another day.
These fishermen accidentally caught a 400-pound ray, so they called a team of professionals to save it. First, they found a place best suited for releasing this giant, did some tests, and finally... This baby goat was loudly crying because its head was stuck in a wheel. Thankfully, people didn't just stand by. This sheep was stuck in a fence and was thrashing uncontrollably, trying to break free. Look how quickly it calmed down when it realized this guy was there to help.
Come on, Mike.
The police officers saved these ducklings that fell into the drain and returned these babies to their mother. This dog came to people for help, hoping they would take the plastic off the animal's head. Look how grateful it is. These divers noticed a large turtle heading their way. Someone must have been very cruel, plunging a spear into the animal's neck. Thankfully, this story has a happy ending. This guy found a dog hiding in an abandoned van from the cold. It was negative 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Turns out, someone shot it in the leg, and the bullet fractured the bone. The guy who found the dog brought it with him and nursed it back to health. And here, mountain bikers called a wildlife biologist to rescue a foal stuck in a mud pit.
Goodbye.
This cat was hopelessly trying to climb out of the water. It was very lucky that there were people passing by at that very moment. And this very attentive girl helped a hermit crab find a new home. Helping a deer is noble but dangerous. Thankfully, it didn't get stuck again immediately after being freed. This pig nearly drowned during Hurricane Ian, but the rescue team got there just in time. This poor deer was stuck in the silt. Thank goodness humans invented excavators. This bird swallowed an entire plastic bottle and would have been dead if it weren't for this person who managed to extract it. Yet another argument against using plastic. this man found a gecko stuck to packaging tape and very gently freed the reptile. This bald eagle accidentally kicked its eaglet out of the nest as it was leaving. Thankfully, it was caught on camera by researchers who immediately set off to rescue the baby bird. This cow must have wanted to sit in the chair, but didn't quite know how to properly use one.
Oh, perfect.
Just look how high this man had to climb to rescue a cat stuck in a pine tree next to him. First, he tried tying the trees together, but that wasn't effective. In the end, he managed to pull in close enough to grab the cat. If it weren't for this kind woman, the cow would still be standing there waiting to cross. This Ukrainian man is on the mission to clean up a local river, and while he's doing that, he also managed to rescue a duck tangled in netting. These people found a fox that was killing their chickens, and despite all of its crimes, they felt bad for the animal, so they released it back into the wild.
Hey, Akela, привет!
This wolf asked a trucker for food, and the man wasn't afraid to feed the wild animal practically by hand.
So I want to show you. We took that mold last time.
These guys really wanted to help a duck without a leg, so they made a special prosthetic using 3D printing technology. Moment of truth.
Oh man. It's aligned properly. You just got to put it down. Come on, you can do it.
A bear cub was trapped in a barbed wire for 8 hours as it tightened around its front paw. Trying to free itself, the bear was scratching and biting the wires. It was spotted by local farmers who called the rescue team, which then managed to untangle the animal and administer first aid treatment. Divers rescued a 30-ton humpback whale that got trapped in an illegal fishing net. People from all over the world came together to rescue starving lions from an animal park in Sudan after an activist named Osman Salih posted photos of emancipated lions on Facebook. Due to the living conditions in Sudan, there were not enough resources to feed the animals, and the lions haven't eaten for several weeks. The activists delivered food right to their cages. Just look at how thirsty this bear is. A wounded leopard came to a Chinese village in search of food. The locals captured it and took it to an animal park for treatment. And this rhino had its head stuck in a bucket, probably the clumsiest rhino in the world. Let's just pretend that this leopard was trying to ask for directions to the nearest village. When you trust a person, but then they crack your neck. An incredible moment of releasing birds back into the wild. This guy picked an efficient, if not very safe way to move the camels from the row. This guy just needs a way to earn quarters, and then it'll be fully independent. A parrot is keeping the kittens warm in its nest. Have you ever seen anything more adorable? And here's a rescue of a cat that went for a walk on a ledge 10 stories off the ground. And that's what being prepared looks like. And this is how they pulled out a cow that fell into the manhole. It wasn't a smooth ride at first. But the second attempt was more successful. Police officers from Peru brought several units together and created a human chain to pull a dog out of the river. A duckling fainted in front of this guy, but he didn't back down and brought the bird back to life. Have you ever heard a hare screaming? This one was loudly crying for help, and it got lucky. This female goose lost her beak as a result of a dog attack and couldn't eat properly. It took 6 weeks of treatment, 3 surgeries, a 3D printer, and kind hands. Now she has a new beak, even better than the last one. A guy found this frog floating belly up in the pool because it was unconscious, and he brought the little guy back to life with a heart massage. I've never imagined this was possible. This dog's leash got caught in the elevator that started to move. By a complete miracle, the dog was safe thanks to this guy's swift reflexes. A sparrow lost consciousness due to extreme heat and dehydration. It was lying in the middle of a busy street when it was lucky to be found by a kind and compassionate person. A dog saw a passerby and was insistent that the person should follow. Turns out her puppies fell into a drain and couldn't get out without help. A bald eagle named Beauty lost its beak to the poachers, but kind people created a new beak for the bird using 3D printing technology. They used the same method to help another bird, a large toucan at the Zoo Avenue Rescue Center in San Jose. And this cutie got help from passers-by. A leopard in India accidentally fell into a water tank, but people helped the animal get out using a net. To the cat's credit, it immediately understood what to do. A mischievous panda fell down a bank, but receiving a helping hand from the zookeepers, and it's officially the most adorable thing I've seen today. Take a look at this puppy's mom begging people for help for her baby. Due to the severity of its wounds, they had to take the puppy with them for a few days to help it heal. And this is one of those moments when an animal is practically trying to get into a situation where it will need help from a human. This German Shepherd was standing on the fence, tangled in barbed wire and practically begging for help. Many people just drove past it, but thankfully there were caring and compassionate people who stopped to help the dog. This fox couldn't get out of the hole, and thankfully, a man lowered a rope down to help the animal. It's a good thing that this fox was savvy enough to quickly realize how to get out. This story deserves its own animated film about Bambi's adventures. This baby deer was rescued from a fast-flowing river by several people who risked their own life to save the animal. Did you know how much a regular elastic band can damage a shell? Thank goodness this turtle was freed, and hopefully it will have an easier life going forward. In India, a donkey fell into a septic tank at a construction site. After being stuck in the sewage for 24 hours, the animal was very grateful to be rescued. To save this German Shepherd from the river, several men, including people from a rescue squad, tried to get it out. After many failed attempts, the dog was finally saved and returned to its owner. This dog fell under the ice and had no way to save itself. Thankfully, the rescue team got there in time, pulling the dog out of the water. Now, all it has to do is dry off and warm up. Sometimes the tide throws sea turtles onto dry land, and if they are upside down, they cannot flip over and get back into the water. This guy found a giant turtle on the shore and saved it by turning it the right way up. And here, a Ukrainian rescue squad is working hard to dig a puppy from under the rubble. A bit of persistence and human's best friend is saved.
Спасибо хлопчикам, що швидко оперативно все зробили.
In the Philippines, two divers noticed a huge manta ray with a fishing line cutting through its wing. These guys removed the fishing line from the devilfish, and we hope that the wing will heal soon. This guy spotted a turtle in the middle of the road and saved it from being crushed, taking it to a safe place afterwards. The owner forgot to close the window, and the neighbor had to save the poor pet that got stuck in the gap. Dogs are like children. You have to keep a close eye on them. A dolphin was beached, and as if that weren't bad enough, it was tangled in a net. Fortunately, the animal was quickly freed and returned into the water. You don't have to save the world to be a hero. You can just save a cat that got stuck in the window, just like this downstairs neighbor with a long stick. Using an excavator, this guy rescued 3 ducks that were stuck in the mud. This person helped a deer whose antlers were stuck in the edges of the pier. Just look at the scared but grateful eyes of the animal. This dog had a seizure, so the dog's owner supported the animal with her kindness. The dog is now fine.
He's still up there. Is he still alive?
It's hard to say how long this heron was hanging on its own beak, fighting for its life. But now it's saved thanks to a kind fisherman who managed to free the bird using his fishing rod.
Let's see.
A man saved a monkey from a pack of dogs, but it stopped breathing because of an injury. He swooped in with a heart massage and a mouth-to-mouth. And here's an incredible moment of a kitten being rescued a second before death. Just listen to the cries of this poor dog. It was hungry and scared, but it entrusted its life to caring people who took the dog to a shelter and brought it back to life. And here's another example of placing 100% trust in people. A 60,000-pound humped whale was stranded on the shore, and take a look at the way people united to help it. An eagle found itself in an ice trap 100 feet from the nearest land after a polar vortex. It was very lucky to be noticed by people. They brought the eagle closer to land where it could find solace. Due to a foot condition, this penguin was struggling to walk, and kind doctors rid the poor animal of pain by performing a surgery and creating custom shoes for her. A bear cub got caught in a trap and was crying in pain. Hearing its pleas for help, forestry workers came to free the animal, despite its attempts to attack them. It's not clear how the kitten got stuck there, but thankfully it was found and freed with great care. Wildlife conservationists pulled a Navarre wolf out of an icy river. In addition to its limbs being numb from cold, it was exhausted and famished, and 35 bullets were found in its body. It was immediately administered first aid, then taken to a clinic, and only 2 weeks later it could finally get back on its feet. And this is what a wheelchair for dogs looks like. Just how many animals get a second chance thanks to this invention? This moose was so parched it overcame its fear and approached people, drinking directly from their hands. Firefighters managed to pull the horse from a ditch only on a second try. It's not surprising considering it weighed over a ton.
Without those wheels, he wouldn't be able to move as easy.
This baby turtle was born with a severe deformity. Its back legs were twisted 180 degrees. It couldn't move, but a medical salesman and big fan of turtles, Randy Betts, came up with a solution. This woman rescued a lion named Jupiter from a circus after his mother died due to animal abuse. Not uncommon for a circus. Jupiter spent some time in her sanctuary before he was taken away. Being separated from his caretaker, the lion lost hundreds of pounds, putting his life in danger. After a long battle, Jupiter was finally returned to his mother and could begin the recovery process. Would you dare to share a drink with this snake?
She was trying to flap to get to safety.
This guy spotted a bald eagle just in time, saving it from drowning.
She did bite me when she got in the boat pretty good. Happy because we know that she'll be out there.
That's all for today. Comment below to tell us which moment stuck with you the most, and don't forget to subscribe.